All right, welcome back, traders. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. We got the close here coming in. We are going to close above the weekly Gaussian channel here, which is good. However, we are still printing our short signal, our S&P short signal on the weekly. Something to take note of. So definitely an interesting close. We're back above the 50-week moving average. I do think that it's possible that we can still maybe come up to maybe fill this fair value gap at like 106, 107. And we'll see what happens there. We really need to see Bitcoin actually fully recover this move. We also did print a weekly long here on Tether to go along with that on the Heiken She candles. On regular candles, I don't think we did, but we did still print a weekly bullish engulfing candle. Aside from this long wick here into the Gaussian channel, Tether is still, unfortunately, still bullish on the weekly time frame. We did get some, lower time frame rejections here, the daily kind of rejecting, and the 3-day, putting in that doji like that. I would say that is a low time frame rejection that could maybe surmount us getting some upside price action, which is what we've been seeing here in the short term. Yeah, it's tough to be like, hey man, we're gonna go make new all-time highs. It's tough to really be in that camp right this very moment. I don't really see that happening right now until we really start taking out probably like 110K. We really need to take that out. S&P 500. Yeah, up a little bit here on futures. That's why we're seeing a little bit of a move up on Bitcoin. Futures kind of holding above its range low here, putting in a nice long wick, getting a bit of a gap up here on the futures open. Yeah, and this also giving us daily short signals. So this gap up can just maybe sell off tomorrow on futures. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, not the best. So the weekly closure on the S&P last week was a bearish engulfing candle with some follow through. We did get a little bit of a wicks here coming into the close, which is, I guess that's good to see, obviously. But to me, this is still in jeopardy of further downside. Let's see, what did we print here on the weekly for Bitcoin? Let's see. Yeah, so we didn't even get a stochastic flip up here. So that weekly short is probably going to play out, unfortunately. Yeah, and we got some separation here on our weekly average sentiment oscillator. Yeah, not really looking that good right this moment. So yeah, as we did close above on the weekly time frame, kind of bought us some time, I suppose. All right, but if we end up seeing follow through here, this isn't going to be good. We'll probably end up breaking this level pretty quickly. ICP, yeah, we'll take a look at it. Okay, so you came up to tag a fib extension. Got rejected by your looks like your 200-week moving average there. Yeah, your weekly's crossing up. That's good. You're probably overbought on like some lower time frames here. Yeah. So you came up to tag a fib. You're probably gonna come back down. I don't know, $5 or something. Especially if Bitcoin's gonna break down. I don't really see how this coin's gonna do anything good. Yeah, I mean, your monthly candle looking pretty good right now, obviously, but not if that gets sold into. You basically came up to fair value gap area here. For the long term, yeah, I mean, I guess the monthly looks good. Monthly's ticking up here on your stochastics. And yeah, if you close, even if you close like where you're at, but I think you're gonna probably come back down to this region here, this like 640 region or something potentially. Yeah, we'll see about that. The only thing that I will say about the tether chart, I know we just kind of gave you guys some bearish news, but it's good to also keep that in mind. Is the one thing that I noticed about my signals, my counter trend signals, is that we never actually got range deviation on the counter trends for the longs down here. So it's not going to start throwing counter trend longs here, right? So in essence, is what I'm saying is this might still be active. Okay. And we did make a break. We did break the weekly squeeze here, and we're outside the band on the weekly time frame. So we'll see if we end up getting some rejection going into this week. That'd be really great to see that this actually gets rejected. But yeah, we'll see about that. Remember, the levels to watch here are really that $103,000 level here for Bitcoin. That's the major 50-week moving average level. Our lower time frames are flicking back up, which is why we're getting this price action back to the upside. The higher time frames here, we can see actually our weekly candle just opened actually into the Gaussian channel. All right. This one closed outside of it. So basically we need to see Bitcoin actually really just recover this whole move pretty quickly for this week. Yeah, you see how it's below the trend here. So it's gonna have to. Well, I guess we did print a. That's good. We printed a counter trend signal right there. That's pretty good if we get that. All right, yeah, we'll see how this week pans out, but we really don't want to be making closures inside of the Gaussian channel. All right, guys, that's the key here. So yeah, this week we didn't close inside, so that's good. We'll see how this week pans out. Our signal is short on the weekly. Our 3-day has been short since about 116K, despite us getting these lower high moves that resulted in further downside moves here. Now, I'm just giving you guys what I'm seeing. We are at a long-term area on the chart. The 50-week moving average is typically where Bitcoin has been getting support, and we continue to get support there. But that's interesting to see that we got this counter trend here. That's good. Cool. We'll see how that plays out. We'll look at Litecoin and Crow. Take a look at those. So Litecoin, you're making a series of higher lows with a series of lower highs. It looks like you're kind of in a crunch here. You're in a structure that's in compression. Okay, and no official cross up here on the weekly for Litecoin. You are maybe clipping here, so that could be the start of something. It just depends on which way this market's going to break right now, to be honest. But yeah, it's tough to You could see that though. You could see the nice uptrend that Litecoin's been in. It's just holding this major trend line, and you're at an area where you're either going to get rejected here and actually break down more, or if the market breaks up, you're actually going to get this breakout back up to all-time highs. So you're at a decision point on the Litecoin chart is what I will say. Okay. And the monthly actually looks rather interesting with these higher lows on the RSI like that. So that looks pretty good for Litecoin. So yeah, we'll see how this pans out. I do, like I said, I do like the fact that we just got a weekly counter trend long on Bitcoin there. That's really good to see. Okay. Cool. Interesting. Very, very interesting. End of shutdown just officially announced. Didn't move. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, news events don't, I mean, I know it's a big news event, but I guess we'll see what the action's like tomorrow, because, you know, the stock market is, the futures market's open. Maybe futures are ripping or something. Yeah, I mean, so technically, the S&P didn't actually break this rising wedge just yet. It actually wicked and got bought up into the close to close back into the structure, and then we gapped up. All right, we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. Yeah, and this signal is short on the daily, but you know that short might have already played out because we got that dip in there. So sometimes these can be late signals on the daily. And we'll see how this plays out. We are legitimately at a pivot point in this market, and there's max fear going on. And that's really it. I mean, I will say the Ethereum close was actually decent. If we are going to see upside, we actually did also print a weekly counter trend long on ETH going into the close. And this is holding its structure on a wick basis. We didn't even cross the weekly Kijun line. We printed a weekly short, but this wicked all the way back into the structure. We got some interesting things that are populating on this chart right now. So let's see how this plays out. There are lots of, kind of bearish high time frame signals that we should be aware of. And we got some time for this to play out. If this recovers this whole candle, then this is going to reverse its trend. Okay. But yeah, we are very overbought on the 2-month time frame. We're not as overbought as we've been in previous cycle tops. So that is, something that you can make a base case for. And yeah, you can clearly see that we have this bearish divergence here. This was a kind of playing out, but we're back to, I would say that this is our uptrend of support on this RSI on the monthly. All right. So we want some positive price action going into this week and into next week to kind of negate what's happening on these high time frames. Okay. So our 2-week Kijun line is still intact. We haven't busted that. You can see here last bear market, we started busting it, and that was basically the start of a bear market. Even when we busted it here, we ended up getting, one more rally into our double top, but really this was the top, right? So the fact that we're still holding the 2-week is pretty good too. I'm trying to be as net neutral here as possible. Holding the weekly Gaussian channel is the key, in my opinion. No candle closures inside. I think we're okay as long as we don't start making weekly closes inside. All right, because we all know what happens once we start to do that. It's like quicksand, ends up being quicksand for the price, right? Like back here, we started making closures inside, and that was the start of our bear market. Now, even here, we started to just briefly start making closes inside, but we had all this bullish divergence to get us out to make this double top. Okay, but to me, this is weakness here. Okay, we also went completely vertical on this move. Bitcoin this cycle hasn't done that. It's actually just been more methodical. A big move up, a retest of the Gaussian, a big move up, a retest of the Gaussian, a big move up. We're retesting the Gaussian, right? So this has not been as parabolic as previous bull markets because it's been led by mostly institutional demand and not by retail. Okay. And that's obviously prevalent when you also look at the altcoin market because it's completely depressed because the institutions aren't buying altcoins, minus maybe Ethereum right now. Okay. And that's kind of what the premise of what we're looking at here is. All right. Everything is still kind of in limbo. I wouldn't be, saying we're out of the woods by any means. We got a big week ahead here for the market. So if we can start reclaiming back above 107, 110 region, or even break back above these levels, then we can talk about testing all-time highs and maybe even new all-time highs. Okay, but until we start really doing that stuff, these could just be oversold rallies to backtest previous breakdown levels, like this 106,005 to 108,000 region. You can see is a big area we need to break back into. Okay, and then our bull market support band is up here at like 114K. And we got to flip this super trend back long at 114K, and then we can talk about higher prices. All right. Again, I will say that this weekly counter trend happened to be our low from the last time we got one of these. We went up, we made a lower high and came back down to retest the low, and then we went off. So I'm hoping we don't actually go up and retest, but we might end up doing something like that, which will be pretty scary because then we are in jeopardy of retesting 100,000, and we don't necessarily want to do that. We want to just kind of spring off of this and break back into the range. Okay, so we'll see how this pans out. So yeah, very interesting time in this market, that is for sure. So the weekly, you can see on the alpha wave is also starting to flash green, which is good. Usually these happen to be when we make our lows in the market on a weekly basis. We haven't gotten any arrows or anything, but you can start to see us flashing. So the 3-day here is also flashing. Oh, yeah, really interesting moment in time here for the markets. To decide their directions for the next couple months, because if Bitcoin continues to hold above these regions, then I think that we can continue our uptrend so long as we continue to do that. And anyone that is saying, hey, we're going to go down to 70K and we're going to go make new all-time highs after we do something like that, I don't think so. It's got to really hold the trend right now to really make those new highs. Okay. That's really it. There's nothing else to really talk about other than let's see the bids come in right here, because that's what we want to see. All right. And we'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. I know right now it's kind of, it doesn't really necessarily mean anything to look at Bitcoin dominance if we're still worried about Bitcoin making new highs. because obviously if Bitcoin can make new highs, then Bitcoin dominance might be something to really pay attention to, because that's when we would get our potential alt run, right? And so we can take a look at it. I will say that it is still short on the weekly here. We did, get another rejection candle here this week. We did see some altcoins kind of blast off, like Zcash and some like OG really S coins that are kind of meaningless to me, which would signal maybe end of bull market type of stuff. So that's kind of why we want to be cautionary in thinking that we're just going to make new all-time highs like this right now. So let's take a look at Crow. So Crow had this breakout. We made a higher high on price. Good. Now it basically came right back down. Wow, it wicked all the way back down to 7 cents, and it's back in the structure. All right. So, but technically, if you want the bullish case scenario is it's actually starting to make these higher lows, which is a good thing to see. If Bitcoin can really recover, then there's a good chance that this asset will also be able to recover. And yeah, I mean, you're putting in a 3-day doji here. That's nice. Maybe you get some follow through on this move. All right. You can see that you're in this, downtrend right here. And you really just need to break back above this structure, above like 20 cents, I would say. That would give you really good upside back to the top of the range. All right. But yeah, you can start to maybe formulate, the idea if we do see some positive price action in this market, which right now Bitcoin looks like it's trying to push up, which is good. You could see potentially this parabola structure that it's basically respecting continue to bounce off of it and make higher highs on price, come back down on the parabola and continue its movement. Okay. And yes, the 3-day RSI is, it is in bearish control zone down here, but this is where you would be maybe looking to, if you think longer term for this asset that you think it's going to go up, this is maybe where you'd be looking to start DCing into a position, right? And you are starting to maybe show some signs of potential reversal back up. Okay. Now we can look at Orca, sure. All right, so Orca actually ended up breaking this big triangle pattern that it was in, but it came back down to basically this support that it was holding for a while on these attempted rallies that it had. Okay, I would say that this thing actually broke its structure for now. And well, if the market goes completely berserko bullish here, which I'm not saying it will, we're definitely still in teeter-totter territory here. Bitcoin holding the 50-week moving average is a positive thing to see, like I mentioned. If Orca can get a bid, you would want to see it reclaim, this 190 level and hold this as support, and maybe then you get completion of this triangle. That would be the bullish scenario. The bearish scenario would be something like this. Maybe you do get this push up into like this resistance area here, okay, and you reject off of it, and you actually end up, making new lows. That's what that would be, okay? I'm not, yeah. So right this moment on the weekly, you're actually showing a bit of weekly bullish divergence. So I'm in the camp that you're probably going to see this go trade higher. You are also getting what looks to be a weekly stochastic RSI cross. No confirmation of this buy signal just yet, but you can see that it's in oversold territory. You can probably strategize to take a trade here if you'd like. Set your stops pretty tight. This is obviously a more illiquid asset, and you can see that based off this liquidation wick that it had down to like 70 cents. All right, yeah, we'll look at Solana too. So Solana, wow, right on the trend line here. That weekly short signal is still active on it. Holding the weekly super trend long here is good to see. But again, you're not. Yeah, the lower time frames are oversold. Okay, yeah, so you're probably going to get this nice push up off this this channel, this major support level here. I would watch this 180 level if you do get a push up here. And if you can actually reclaim, the 180 to 200 range, I would say that is probably good to see a nice recovery here like that, so that maybe you can see new all-time highs eventually on Solana. All right. And the bearish scenario is that all you do is this. Because you are oversold, you are probably going to get this push up into this 180 area here. Okay, just like Bitcoin is probably going to go tag 106 to 108K, that region we were talking about. The difference is Bitcoin actually gave us a weekly counter trend reversal signal. That's really interesting. So we're going to see about that. Okay. Cool. But like I said, the bearish case scenario is this. We did clearly break this head and shoulders type of pattern that we were in. All right. And we ended up breaking this neckline here for about a 30% drawdown. We probably did close to that. Yeah, we did about a 20% move down. So it didn't do the whole pattern, but man, pretty much did almost the whole move. Okay. So we're going to probably go up to back test this neckline. And if it can actually break back into it, that's great to see. That's a really bullish thing to see. If not, it's basically just an oversold bounce and back into resistance, and to that probably come back down to test support again. All right. Just letting you know what I see here, shorter term. All right, we'll look at Avalanche. Sure. Man, Avalanche is sitting at a very, very strong support level. You got 4 strong supports here. And let's go to the high time frame here also on Avalanche. Yeah, our weekly is short on Avalanche still. I don't recommend shorting at support, especially a support of this nature being so strong. And so it's probably likely, if Bitcoin's going to go up and Tether's going to drop, that Avalanche is also probably going to go up. Basically, Avalanche needs to start to really go back into an up to, it hasn't really been an uptrend, but I'll say that for it to really make some significant moves, I would say you're stuck between, the $16 level and this $25 range right now on the daily time frame. And anything in between there is kind of no man's land. It's got to really start taking control of this $25 level to get up to the top of the range. All right. So you kind of want to see something like that, okay, for Avalanche. And if you look at the monthly, okay, yeah. So you got some wicks here on Avalanche that could translate into upside if we do see upside coming into this market. Typically, when you do get long wicks, that is buying pressure. You guys know that, but we need to see follow through right after the buys come in. We have to see follow through on stuff like that. All right. And so that's kind of what we really want to see. You can see that this is in some sort of, call it like a long consolidation structure. Maybe this is a flag of sorts. I don't know how you guys really want to depict or see this, but yeah, you can kind of see this being in a channel. It looks like it's in a channel. All right. And yeah, every single time you get to the top of a channel and you don't break it, it gets shorted, back to the top of the channel, shorted, back to the top of the channel, shorted. All right. So now you're at a support again. So now it's the bull's turn to really try to make an attempted rally, right? Are we just going to get to $31 on this move, or are we going to end up really just breaking further down? I don't think we're going to break further down just yet, because these daily timeframes and 2-day timeframes are probably oversold. So we're going to get this bounce, as we're seeing right now. This 1950 area is really the level you need to get back above to really go back to test the super trend area around this 2360 region. If we can start to take out these regions, we have a chance at going to test the top of the channel again. And really, if it ends up breaking out of the channel, that's when you really want to pay attention, because at that point in time, it could really make its move. Okay. That's the analysis here on Avalanche. So that's really it. I'm really, really excited to see that we got a weekly counter trend on Bitcoin. That is really a good thing to see come in, because those are extremely powerful. That right there is a very powerful thing to see. All right. So that's good. That is very, very good. Yes, Toe, this is what we want to see. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we've been live for a half hour. We can cover whatever else you guys want. Maybe there's some equities. I actually was looking at SBET. I actually took a trade on it on Friday around this $11 region, because I was thinking that if ETH is going to maybe rally a bit, that SBET would too, because they own an S load of ETH. Right off a major double line support here. I understand that this thing has gaps to fill lower, and there's downside risk potential here, but I could easily manage my risk below this $10 region. There is a gap to fill here around $7, and I'm not ignoring that fact. That is definitely a possibility to have happen. Privacy Dex, Fog, nice, cool, man. Eyeing RR. All right, I'll take a look at it. Robotics. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see why you're maybe eyeing that. Okay. So yeah, a series of higher lows and higher highs coming in here. The daily putting in what looks to be maybe a stopping candle right at the bull market support band there. That's good on the daily. The weekly holding its super trend for now. Yeah, I'd be careful with this. Your momentum is still definitely slated to the downside here, and you were in, bubble risk territory here. I would be careful with something like this right now. I'm not saying it can't reverse right here. I'm just saying that this could just be a bounce to a lower high or something. Like maybe it comes back up to like $5 and then just makes a lower high and goes down or something. I don't know that that's going to happen like that, but just pay attention to those levels, right? And the macro, of course. Cool. All right. So that's it. I think the DGen protocol is in the house. What's up, man? All right. So in case you missed it, Chris, we did just get on the close, Bitcoin's weekly candle close, we did just get our weekly counter trend long signal that we've gotten in the past before major reversals in the market. Okay, we did just print one of those. Yeah, okay, our signal is still short. However, this short might have played out. We did close above the weekly Gaussian channel. Like I said, we needed to really do that, which we did do. That was definitely the line in the sand for me, is if we started making weekly closes inside the Gaussian channel, we got trouble. We didn't do it. We held above it. And we're starting to see Bitcoin potentially putting in a recovery right now, which is exactly what we want to see. Beautiful. We're not out of the woods by any means. We still got lots of work to do here. We need to see Bitcoin break back above these levels that it broke down from. I would say, closing weekly closures back above 112,000 would be an extremely bullish thing to see. Really, like this 114 region, these candle bodies up here. If we start taking that stuff out, we can talk about potentially testing top of range and maybe new all-time highs, because that weekly momentum would definitely drive the price higher. If we start making weekly closes up there, that means we'll probably eventually get a weekly stochastic RSI cross up with positive price action on the week and maybe the next 2 weeks. All right. So we're still definitely at a teetering point right now. There's no reason to be like giga bullish or whatever, anything like that right now. But we're holding key market structure, and that's really what matters. So that's good. All right. Cool. We can take a look at whatever you want. Chris, you want to look at something? Pulse chain stuff. How's our pulse chain stuff looking? ETH is also putting in a weekly counter trend reversal. Beautiful. Yeah, wrap Bitcoin we can look at. So if we turn the Gaussian channel off for a minute, this candle closure here for wrap Bitcoin on the week, I had really wished this closed green on the week, man, because if that closed green, that would have been a weekly doji, and that is a good candle to see. The good thing is wrap Bitcoin didn't break its market structure. It's still holding within the structure that it's in. So that is a net positive for this asset. And volume is receded too. So if we can still manage to hold these levels, it is possible we will resolve this up if the market does resolve itself to the upside, which it looks like it might end up doing, which is great. And yeah, like I said, we're holding critical levels here of support. We need to really start taking out, the $600 level before you really maybe get excited about something like this right now. 575 region, and then we're looking at the $1,000 level up here. So we really got to take this out and hold it as support before we can see higher prices. All right, that's what we're kind of looking at on wrap Bitcoin. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, ETH looking pretty solid right this very moment with that weekly trend reversal coming in there. That's something really, 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 really good to see. I like that. And holding above the weekly Kijun line is also very good. Very good. Not out of the woods, like I said. Yeti, thank you so much for is that a $100 super chat? Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Beautiful. Thank you. That's appreciated, sir. Cool. Man, I really hope this this counter trend signal plays out. It's played out every other time. We're seeing Tether get rejected right now. That's a beautiful thing to see. Like I said before, we got no weekly reversal signal here on Tether. When we had got them in the past, they were clearly the time to get out of the market or take profit. This obviously was a doozy. This kind of tricked the whole market and wrecked the whole market. But it's not going to be giving a counter trend long up here. So that means that this is still technically short on the weekly time frame. All right. So we'll see if we end up getting follow through on that. It looks like we're seeing some action. Bitcoin pushing close to 106,000 right now. That's very good to see. We'll see how this pans out. I should say I'll come over to the Telegram, sure. Yeah, when I'm done. Yeah, this is great. Let's see if this pans out. This should be great. Great stuff to see. Cool. Again, Yeti, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. It's really appreciated, man. All right. Anything else you guys want to look at? Yeti, would you like to look at something specific? You have the floor, sir. Plasma. All right, we'll take a look at it. Sure. What is that? XPL. Oh yeah, we don't have lots of data on this coin. This is the weekly time frame on Plasma. Yeah, honestly, man, I don't have a lot of data on this asset. But given what we do have, we can fib from our wick highs to wick lows here. We really need to start taking out this 36-cent region. I know we're kind of close to it right now. But yeah, start taking that out, holding it as support, and then we can work our way up to this 48-cent level. You can see these fair value gaps in this region. This is a big order block right up here. All right. You really want to see that start to take those out. All right. We don't really have any really a lot of data on this coin, man. Unfortunately, I can't really give you the best analysis that I could give you. I don't really see any pattern or structure on something like this, so there's not really something that'll give you a real edge on this chart. Okay, so maybe you've broken this brief downtrend here. You've actually retested it as support for now. Yeah, so you want to see this pivot and run and take out these fair value gaps. So your next real level here, like I said, 36 cents. And you really want to start seeing those closures on higher time frames, okay? That's really it. I have no idea what this coin's going to do. I don't have data on it, and I don't have enough data to give you like a real price projection on something like this. I don't know. It's just straight down right now. All right. So. All right. Unfortunately, I don't have anything else to give you on this. But if you do make a 50% or 618 retracement, you know, that's not that wouldn't be out of the cards to see something like that if we're going to get bullish price action here in these next couple of weeks from this low. Yeah, beautiful that we're getting this follow through down on Tether right now. That's good to see. All right. Nice. But we did, what's interesting though is the Heiken SG long came in. So like I said, let's not get excited just yet about any of this. We really need to see, you know, bearish engulfing down to 5% on the week and start taking these levels out and this start to really break down. Because what could really happen if we do go like hyper bullish into another high is something like this could happen, or we could, at minimum, we could come back down to the bottom of this range on this triangle. Okay. So we'll see how this pans out, but I'd say it's looking pretty good. We're testing 106K right now, guys, on Bitcoin. So that's a pretty big level to test. Nice. I got nothing else to say, but let's get back above here, Bitcoin. Let's regain your footing in this market right now. So this is a big level. We're testing it right now. All right. Hopefully we don't hard reject this. That would suck, but we'll see. It's interesting. On the index chart, we're printing a counter trend. On some of these other charts, we're not. All right. Well, like I said, we got some work to do. We'll see how this week ends and closes. We got some key levels to take out. So we got to watch these levels here. This 106 level, 107 level. Anything else you guys want to look at? I feel like I've repeated the same thing about a million times now. So I don't think that that's accurate, actually. So. I think Besant was saying that to disregard what Trump was saying or something, and we're getting it in some other form or way or something. I don't know. Anyways, we'll see how this week pans out. Like I said, we got some critical things to break to get back into our structure. And us testing 106 right now is a pretty critical level to break back above. The bands on the daily here go up to about 112, 111.6. If we can start breaking through this here, that would be really bullish to see, actually. Here we go. We just broke 106. Nice. Cool. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Yeti, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. Appreciate that. And we'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully we have a fantastic week here. Just remember to be cautious right now. We need to reclaim lots of market structure here. And that's it. That's all I got. All right, guys. Have a great night, great week. Catch you guys next week.
Hey everyone, you've landed on the Swing Trade Pros website here. My name is Mr. Know-It-All. I've been an active swing trader for over 7 years. I want to welcome you guys all to the community here. My goal is to change 1 million people's lives with swing trading and trading profitably. This is a skill set you can learn here with the service. You go check out the testimonials in Discord. You can see lots of folks talking about the service and how the trade calls are super profitable. You can check Profit Gains channel. I think we've amassed around $150,000 worth of profits in the last year posted in the Profit Gains channel just from other users and traders in the community. I'd like all of you guys to check out the 14-day free trial. A coupon code will be pinned in the comment section below this video, so check it out. And we'll take you through 14-day free trial process here. You come down to the website, save 44%, and claim your 14-day free trial. Click on that. And that will take you to the Swing Trade Pros website where you can click sign up now. And after your 14-day free trial is up, on the 15th day you will get billed, full disclosure of that. And I appreciate you guys all joining the community. It will change your lives. Give it a chance. A lot of these swing trades can take months. One of our biggest trades of the year last year was INJ. We took an entry at $1.60, and well, that asset's trading over $35 today. So that was one of the banger trades that I pointed out. My strongest pattern that I trade that I'm known for is the falling wedge. I call it the falling node wedge pattern. Lots of divergence on these charts, and that's what makes these patterns really play out. And you guys are going to be able to really learn that in the service, and I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on the charts.